Welcome to my channel, 12 Bells. How are you? I am so excited to join you today from my uh, laptop, right? So my son is not home, and I got the laptop so I could come on and talk to you because I've been getting a lot of email, a lot of texts, and so forth from people hot. They hot on this politics, and that's great. That's great. So we in New York City are doing early voting. Early voting started October 25th, which was a Saturday, and it ends this Sunday, November 2nd. And it ends this Sunday, November 2nd, because the election day is Tuesday, November 4th. So you still have time to do early voting today, Friday, which is Thursday, October 30th. Tomorrow, Friday, October 31st. Thank you, child, for being tuned in. Thank you, Official 1SP. I don't know why Official 1SP comes in talking crazy, but Official 1SP, also known as Lamar, is doing a lot. He's doing a lot, and I don't know why he wants to try to be on a first name basis, but I'm talking about early voting. That's why I don't put in my invitation to come on panel right away, because I know that I have people that have no idea on how to stay on topic, which is fine. A lot of people don't know how to be on topic. If you watch a lot of live streams and so on, it's a lot of people don't stay on topic. But I'm talking about voting. And I know some of you are still undecided because I got a phone call from a person that's not decided. In fact, they don't really want to vote. And they wanted to talk to me about it because they know that I encourage people to vote. Right? And he's talking about Zoran, Now, y'all, I think y'all know I'm not usually in this area when I am doing my live stream. I'm turning on the fan. I'm starting to feel hot. And I think I'm just getting irritated. But anyway, when you go vote, you get a sticker and you get this stylus. You have to sign your name. I already voted. I don't have a problem with who you vote for. I want you to be engaged in the process and vote. Okay? Now, you should have received this already. If you haven't, they give you this. You put this on they give you this to vote with. It has a barcode on the back. You put in your barcode. Very, very convenient. They sent out the voter's guide in English and in Spanish. I'm concerned if people are not aware of this, and that likely means they're not an engaged voter. Because we have a lot of people, they're not registered to vote, but they're always in a conversation and they don't vote at all. So they gave you this, so people that want to be reminded, they gave them a little thing that they could it says my top choices. They could fold up and use. They give you an idea of who's going to be getting voted for, right? And then they let you have a tear along, that you could take that with you, right? They send it to you pre-advance. So when this P is talking, he says, I ain't no liberal, but that's history to be made. If a content creator wins office, then doors will be open back up for you. What is he talking about? Let's focus on what I'm talking about. Let's play the video.
Good morning. Step right up. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and briefly tell us what's on your mind.
Good morning, Nan family. My name is Joe Gonzalez, and I hail from Brooklyn, New York. In this political cycle, I am so confused at the mixed messages that we, the people, are getting from people in leadership, including those running for public office. So not long ago, State Senator Jessica Ramos called Andrew Cuomo a sex pervert. A month later, she endorses him for mayor. Then we have Eric Adams calling Cuomo a snake and a liar. This week, Eric Adams endorses Cuomo. We don't know what to believe or who to follow anymore. Hakeem Jeffries called Mandami a question mark, a socialist, all these names. Yesterday, Hakeem endorsed.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to pause it for a minute because I had too many tabs up, and I started hearing the same conversation more than once. So just give me a minute. I was having some technical issues. I'll put that right back. It's just because I had more than one tab open, because I had opened up a tab so that I could send it out on my post page. So I'm going to post it on my my page on YouTube, and then it started to play, and I could hear the feed. I heard noise in the feed, so I'm gonna open that up. Okay, here we go.
Mandami. I don't understand the messages that we're getting. We look to leadership to tell us the right thing and take honorable positions. Many of us, myself included, are so confused, and we beg for guidance. We've been asked to protest outside of DEI opponent, billionaire real estate developer Bill Ackman, and many of us have been protesting. But for the last 6 months, it develops that Bill Ackman is funding Andrew Cuomo's mayoral campaign. Andrew Cuomo walks in here like he owns the place. So we're getting a mixed message. How do we support Cuomo while he undercuts us by taking Bill Ackman's money? Thank you, and that's what's on my mind.
Thank you. Please step right up. Step right up. Tell us.
So what I shared was a segment from What's on Your Mind with the National Action Networks. That is Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton's Saturday rally, which happens every Saturday, and it is live streamed on his website, which is nationalactionnetwork.net, on his YouTube channel, which is National Action Network, and it is on a cable show, Impact, and it is on your social media platforms such as Facebook. So I want you to hear from not only me, because sometimes it seems like people want to argue with me, like as if I'm having a thought that is some kind of traitor thought, because I'm not a Democrat, and it's just ridiculous. So we need to have that conversation. Now, you can check that out yourself by going to National Action Network to hear what's on your mind. But I think Curtis Sleva is a good candidate. The reason why I think Curtis Sleva is a good candidate, because he's a New Yorker, and he's not someone that we can say we have a problem with as far as with the parties and being compromised. You give him a chance and see where he's going to go with it. Unlike being with people that you already know doesn't make sense. We know that Zoran is already an assemblyman. So when he talks about, I'm going to show you a video. When he talks about problems, he's a part of the problem because he is already working in the local government. So if he hasn't been fighting whilst he was in local government, he's not going to change it. That's what I'm telling you. Being in the city, this is Child of Man. Being in the city and voting is definitely from seeing things on the news for sure. LOL, I'm going to vote. That's wonderful news. I love to hear that. Child of Man said, I registered to vote here, and also what's interesting is when I got my driver's license, it said Democrat Party, Republican Party, Trump. Child said party and then independent. One SP said, what's wrong with she's talking about Zoran. I don't know why would he say his name. I'm going to play a video. I'm going to let you see. Nothing's wrong with anybody, because I want you to vote for whoever best speaks to your values, your core values. So whoever has the agenda that is for you, that's who you vote for. That was interesting how Trump party was separated. Now, when it comes to who you want to vote for, it goes by what are the policies that they are standing on and what matters and speaks to you, and who is going to support and defend the policies that you're interested in. One of the policies that I thought was very good that, I don't hear enough people talking about it, so that's why I'm bringing it up, because it's so difficult to have conversations with people that's not listening. Do y'all see this well? Because it doesn't look like y'all see this good. Let me make it bigger. See if y'all see it better. Did it get bigger for y'all? Do y'all see that better? Okay, I'm just going to read it. So one of the issues regarding policy is no cash bail. So no cash bail refers to a legal system where the defendant's pretrial release does not depend on monetary payment. This means that individuals are not held in jail solely because they cannot afford bail, allowing for the release based on their risks to public safety and likelihood of appearing in court instead of their financial resources. This shift aims to ensure fair treatment in the justice system and reduce the number of people incarcerated due to financial constraints. So one of the issues has been that, hey, Donnie Z, one of the issues has been that, you know, people of color can't pay the cash bail that the judge sets for them. So in New York right now, we don't have a cash bail system. Okay, they said that the only way that they might keep you in jail is if they feel that you're not going to appear to court and you're going to, or you're a risk, right? You're a risk to society. Again, I wanted to show you that. It says, if you are a risk to public safety, that means they feel like if they release you, you're gonna do something, right? It's like when they hold people that have mental illness. The risk to safety of society or other people, or likeliness of appearing in court, meaning if you're not going to appear in court, then they will keep you. But they're not going to keep you because you can't pay the bail, okay? Because they're not putting the bail. A lot of people think that is hitting the criminal on the wrist, and that the soft policies. A lot of people don't like that. They think that they're soft on crime. They call that a soft on crime policy. But I think that a lot of people have shared that the judge was unfair with the bail amount, and they knew that they wasn't going to be able to pay that. They did not make a bail that was reasonable and affordable. So to address that issue, advocates successfully was able to get politicians to go with no cash bail, which is one of the policies that I think was very helpful when it comes to Black and brown communities. Okay. And I would prefer, when I have a conversation with people about who they want to vote for, that they would tell me what policies that the person is standing on that makes them want to vote for them, opposed to all this nonsense that it's just a I like you or not, you know. When it's more to politics, it's more to this than just if I like you. What are they signing bills into? What are the things that they are doing? Charles says, also 12, with you making moves in the community, are you now making sure to document your work to our home shouldn't go unnoticed? I hope they fixed it for real. Let me tell you something. Make a note of that. There's a lot of mess going on where I'm at. Okay, it's a lot of mess. Me trying to I supposed to pray. She remind me about prayer. Yeah, so we're gonna start in prayer. Like if I was gonna have a program and I had an agenda, we'd have somebody come and pray. I would like to have Sister Glenda. Maybe we can have 1SP, but see, 1SP, he's gonna pray for 20 minutes. So we're just gonna do a basic prayer that we know from the Bible, and it's Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. They said you can always go back to that prayer. If you can't remember, you can't get your own words to pray, you can always do that one. That prayer is in the Bible. Some versions have trespassers, some versions though. But you know, if I was gonna have a community meeting, I gotta get myself ready. I gotta start practicing when I was gonna have a community meeting, because I'm gonna go there. Okay, I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna do this, even if it's virtually, right? And usually in the community meetings I attend, they always have some member of the clergy start with a prayer. You know what I'm saying? Look at him. He said 20 minutes is not long enough. Oh my God. So most community meetings I attend, they always have a member of the clergy. We have a lot of Black people that are clergy members. And our clergy members can go to the hospital, they can go to the prison, right? So, I was doing a lot of work with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated individuals when I was with the city council office with Councilman Yusuf Salam. And Councilman Yusuf Salam's office had a lot of people that were formerly incarcerated, people calling from prison, everything. But that was not my first encounter with that population. My first encounter with that population was with National Action Network, because National Action Network has a lot of people call and ask for advocacy from prison. They said they was wrongfully incarcerated. They're looking for lawyers. They don't have access to lawyers, and National Action Network does. And I do believe tonight they are having their legal night. So that is an organization that has legal night, and legal night has it. What it has is that we have several lawyers come in the evening and they do pro bono work, right? And one of the lawyers that is very popular now with that's from a National Action Network, is Ben Crump. I've always been independent, peace. I've always been. So I became independent when I decided to register to vote in high school. And when I became of age to register to vote, I registered to vote for Right to Life party, because I don't believe in abortion. And Right for Life, I guess they merged into Working Families Party. And that is the party that I am. I was just in with by default. I did not really choose to be with the Working Families Party. That party, Right for Life, merged into that for some reason. Just like now, like when Peace asks about de Blasio. So de Blasio also ran on a ticket for Working Families Party. They don't only have two parties. They also have the other parties. That's why Saliva's running on Republican and animal rights thing. And then you have, I believe Zoran is with Working Families. They can do dual. They can do main party and independent party. Just the other day, you said Curtis Saliva was a nut. Now I've always supported Saliva. I think he's a nut, but I support Saliva. He has like 16 cats, but he's a New Yorker. He loves the city. It's who I support. I was supporting Eric Adams. Eric Adams dropped out. I was supporting Eric Adams as an independent, and he dropped out. What can I do? No, in no way am I double speaking. I said that the current people, when it comes to Zoran and for Cuomo, they are already known Democrats, and they didn't improve the situation since they've been in office. So why put them back in office? Who's not in office is Saliva. So why not give him a chance? That's what I'm saying. Shout out Camera Action Bureau. Hi. It is afternoon, so bonsoir, monsieur. Bonsoir, monsieur. He's one of my Haitian brothers. Do you even remember the Guardian Angels from the early 80s? I have seen Saliva on the 6 train, and I do believe that he cares about safety. He talks about those points about, caring about women, their safety on the train. Who did you vote for? Peace? Have you voted? I don't remember, but my mom said she remembered him. But they still have documentaries about him. So why did he take so long to run for office? No, Saliva's been running for office. He just doesn't win. He is old school, and I believe he's 71 years old. Okay, so she likes Cuomo, who's disrespecting the party by breaking up the party and not just taking that L. Let me show you. So one of the things that I'm concerned about is the closing of Rikers Island. So Zoran said that he supports the closing of Rikers Island. And he's talking about it. Let me see. Did I want to hear it from this part?
Relationship with the state. Right now, for New Yorkers who are released out of state jails, 40% immediately enter into New York City shelters. There's not much thought as to what will they do next. What is their pathway beyond that? And you had brought this up of a few of different proposals of alternatives to incarceration that have been proven to be effective. And these are also alternatives that actually reduce the likelihood of recidivism. Because as soon as you step foot in a jail, your likelihood of recidivism increases. And we need to be guided by these outcomes, by this evidence, because so often as it pertains to jails and prisons and crime, we are only willing to speak about this in the discourse that we've had politically for the last few years, as opposed to what works, what doesn't work, and how can we ensure that these statistics, they are both horrifying, and these were the statistics, these have been the statistics we have become inured to over the last few years. I mean, going to Rikers, I mean, the peak of the crisis, when I first came in, it was in my first year, in 20.
Okay, as you see, he's talking about how he is in the he is a part of our local government. And one of the things that they said, which I'm going to rewind it so y'all can hear it, is that they said 42 people have died whilst in custody as of this year. There's been so many people that have died whilst in custody in Rikers Island. And I remember when I was a teenager, they had a front page story about how there was rat pellets in the food for inmates at Rikers Island. So it's crazy. Now, what P says, has Mandemi ever been to Rikers? And he stated that he has visited Rikers, which is, I think that's something notable. I like people when they're going to talk about something that they have been there, or they at least know something. But he wants to close it. He's still on that. That was what de Blasio said. De Blasio didn't get it done in his 8-year term. And when Eric Adams came in, Eric Adams had he did not want to close it. So once we got that, the next mayor, he was not interested. That's our current mayor. He did not close it. He was never interested in closing Rikers Island. He doesn't agree with the plan on how we want to do more community focused style when it comes to that prison. It's not funny, but it's crazy. So let's rewind it so you can see it, since I see you have an interest. Let's play it from the beginning.
And reform of the jails. Under the Adams administration, I believe the number is up to 42 people who have died while in custody or shortly after being released. What would be your strategy, including?
Now, just absorb that. 42 people have died in custody. That shouldn't be. They should not be dying in custody. So technically, they're getting a life sentence if they're not getting out. So they coming into Rikers, and their people. It's crazy, and it's been that way. That rat poison wasn't put in there by inmates. That was staff. People are crazy. There's been a lot of horrible stories about Rikers. They have documentaries. There's a lot of videos. I mean, it's wild. So just hear what he's saying. This is a very violent. They have staff there that has complained about the violence in Rikers Island. They have said they don't feel safe. The prison guards, it's wild. It's wild. And they have been having this back and forth with wanting what to do there. It's so crazy. And so now that's one of the sites they've been detaining illegal immigrants. So it's a lot going on. Let's return back. Again, we're talking about this is because this is a policy. This is one of the policies that you may want to vote on. Hello, Brownsburg. Curtis Lever for the taken, son. What is that supposed to even mean? What is that supposed to even mean? Anyway, let's go back to
sort of timeline changes, alternative sentencing, diversion programs. How do you turn that place around?
You know, I've visited Rikers a few times, and one of the last times I went, there was an incarcerated New Yorker that tried to take their own life in front of one of my colleagues in that cell.
Did y'all hear that? That's extreme violence. Okay, now he said he's visited several times, but he said this is a wild experience that he's sharing, that he's experienced himself. So they wasn't even on best behavior. Okay, he came there. He's an assemblyman. He came as an assemblyman, and listen to that. That's crazy. Oh, P says she don't believe him. Oh my goodness. So he gonna lie like that on what? She said the guards are troublemakers. Get Eric Adams out of here. He's not running, so we have nothing. We got. Did you vote, Brownsburg? Brownsburg. I hope you're going to vote. Stop playing. Yes, he told a few lies. Ooh, so why vote for him, right? But the bottom line I'm showing you is that this is an issue, and we want somebody that's gonna address the issues we have. I'm very concerned about how inmates are handled on Rikers. I don't like what I hear, and this has been an issue for decades. It's decades been a problem. And what are they? They're not doing that, and we still constantly having these issues. It's like nobody wants to go to Rikers. Like this is not a place you want to go to. No. It's not a place you want to go to.
The despair on Rikers Island has been well known to many of us for quite some time. And yet it is despair that has only been heightened under this current mayoral administration. You know, you mentioned more than 40 New Yorkers have been killed on Rikers Island, 5 in the last 2 weeks. And the jail.
Five in the last 2 weeks at that time, right? Does that make any sense? This is a violent, out of control jail. This is outrageous. These people in custody, they're not safe. I'm not saying that jail is supposed to be a safe place, but you have all these staff there. What the hell are they doing? Like, what is going on here? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're getting life sentences coming up in here. They're not getting out. They're not getting out. And it's stressful. It's horrible to hear. And as I was saying, like we have clergy. So I was working with, and I'm going to resume this conversation. This thing isn't that long, so I'm going to go back to it. But I just wanted to say that I was working with the incarcerated and formerly incarcerated population at National Action Network and at the Councilman Yusuf Salam's office. And I learned, because we have families that would call saying that they want to know how their family member is doing, that they haven't been able to reach them. And one of the ways we was able to get confirmation, eyes on the person, is through clergy, because clergy has relationships with jails, prisons, Rikers. And so you get in contact with one of the clergy people that have a relationship with Rikers, and they can make a call or they can go there and do a physical visit. So it's good to know I'm just putting out, it's good to know clergy. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people in the community know clergy, and I'm saying it's good to know clergy. There's a lot of clergy in National Action Network. And National Action Network, almost every member has some kind of title that is church related, because it is a church, Baptist based, it's a church based organization. It's church based. And there are a lot of clergy that go to Rikers that attend there. I'm just saying, it's like some of the things to know, that's why it's important and why it's utilized. Because people be like, well, how is he around for 30 years if he's this and he's that? No, because he has an active organization that has things that people utilize. I wanted to show y'all the legal night. Ugh. I got so much stuff is going on. I just told you you're gonna have to take it for what I said. Can I show y'all? Let's see if I can show you the flyer for legal night. I think this is gonna be the last one for this, for the year, because they take a break, right? So I don't know. I can't be sure. But I don't like the way the website is set up. It's like you really social media. I'm not gonna hold y'all with this. This is taking too long. I'm not gonna do it. Mandami needs to mayor the problems in his country in Africa. Ooh. He's been here since the age of 9. Let's go back to talk some nonsense.
Population of Rikers has increased since Eric Adams has come into office by more than 1,000 additional incarcerated New Yorkers. And what is quite staggering to me is that we know that we can reduce that jail population to less than 4,000. I mean, Vital City had an article about a number of different proposals that could reduce it to 3,700. And some of this also just has to look at the average stay on Rikers in the 90s was 50 days. Now it's more than 100. There are more than 1,500 people on Rikers who have been held there for more than a year. So I do think many of the reforms that have to be made are also reforms around the court system and ensuring that people are actually having speedy trials. But I also think other reforms, we often talk about the revolving door and how do we actually address and deal with the revolving door. And a big part of it is that we ensure that we are actually equipping people with what they need to not just come straight back to Rikers Island, but this administration has cut funding for much of those very services on Rikers Island. And so I think that this is part of my frustration where, we have had a mayor who has made it effectively impossible to follow the law of closing Rikers by 2027. My commitment will be to do everything in my power from the very beginning to follow that law and to ensure that we are reducing the jail population and following the example we've seen in the past where you can do so while also reducing crime and understanding that no longer can we just be at ease with Rikers Island being the largest mental health facility in New York City, second largest in the country, where 40% of all the population is diagnosed as having SMI, serious mental illness.
When it came time to take
I'm sorry that they have a commercial. See if I can come in here. That's crazy. Anyway, so it's very disturbing what he's saying. But this has been something that's been going on the whole time. He's been in Assemblyman for how many years? So he's part of the problem, I'm telling you. Okay, it's back. Okay, the commercial's off. Let me take this. Hold on. I'm gonna stay here though.
Jack Jaworski, who's a journalism student here at Columbia, picks up on that, saying that the mayor of the current administration has made it functionally impossible, those are your words, to close Rikers by 2027 as required by law. And his question is, what would you do to get the closure and the required borough jails back on track?
Is Jack here? I don't know. Zach
Jaworski.
I feel like we have seen each other at a number of events. You finally got me. You finally got me. Thank you for your question. And I hope the other person who asked is also here.
Student journalists are journalists.
Yes, student journalists are journalists. Yes. You know, I think there's a question of will. Do you actually want to do this? Do you actually want to take this on? Or are you just pushing the can down the road? And it's also how you approach not just Rikers, but also the relationship with the state. Right now, for New Yorkers who are released out of state jails, 40% immediately enter into New York City shelters. There's not much thought as to what will they do next? What is their pathway beyond that? And you had brought this up of a few of different proposals of alternatives to incarceration that have been proven to be effective. And these are also alternatives that actually reduce the likelihood of recidivism. Because as soon as you step foot in a jail, your likelihood of recidivism increases. And we need to be guided by these outcomes, by this evidence, because so often as it pertains to jails and prisons and crime, we are only willing to speak about this in the discourse that we've had politically for the last few years, as opposed to what works, what doesn't work, and how can we ensure that these statistics, they are both horrifying, and these were the statistics, these have been the statistics we have become inured to over the last few years. I mean, going to Rikers, I mean, the peak of the crisis, when I first came in, was in my first year, in 2021. And going there and having to fight to even visit and trying to be convinced by anyone who had any power that I shouldn't go, that we shouldn't organize this. And then going and knowing that whatever we were seeing was a sanitized version of what actually existed, because everyone knew that we were coming. And yet, even amidst that sanitized version, seeing the despair amongst so many. And the fact that, I mean, you have people who have waited 2 years for a trial. How does that make any sense? And it's not a question of fiscal.
Yeah, how does that make any sense, right? So this is horrible, right? They're just being held there. They haven't gone to trial, right? So they say, I'm not guilty. I want to go. I'm not taking a plea deal. Okay, you're not taking a plea deal. Yeah, I'm not guilty. Okay. And then they say you got to wait for the judge. You got to wait to see the judge. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The voting, we have to vote for judges too. And they don't even tell us about the judges. On this election, we're not voting just for mayor. We're voting for public advocate. So Jumaane could get out. I don't see that happening. But Jumaane's position is up for grabs. The public advocate. That's a Democrat. And he's a very progressive Democrat. You have your borough president is up for grabs. Okay. You have your council member, your city council is up. Your judges is up. So you have all of this going on. Then you have ballot proposals behind it. One of the things is to digitize all of the maps in the city. They're talking about being able to make housing on certain things. You're very informed because a lot of people like myself here don't know this. Let me tell you something. My problem is He said that he went to Rikers Island. But who did he go with? Because I work with organizations, right? So one of the organizations that advocate for inmates is Vocal New York. One of the organizations that is totally against Rikers even being open is no. So who is he working with? Because we know that he was working with Assemblyman Eddie Gibbs, and Assemblyman Eddie Gibbs got a lot of flack for supporting inmates when people came out regarding the man who was shackled going through a transfer that got killed. His name was Robert Brooks Jr. Robert Brooks Jr. made people very upset. His story upset. It just didn't resonate well with people because he was shackled and all these officers was beating the hell out of him. They was just punching him, just going like he's some kind of rag doll, like he's a punching bag, like he's not even real. And Assemblyman Eddie Gibbs, he got active in it, right? And he was reelected, right? So his position was reinstalled, but they was trying to get him out. And next year, remember, we're gonna have to vote for the governor. And a lot of people that's dealing with these issues for incarceration cannot stand Hochul. They don't think she's a good governor. Okay? They think she's a horrible governor. But then you have people that say, you know, she's great. You're great. That's why we have to focus on the policies. What are the policies that are something that you're concerned with? I'm concerned about recidivism. Recidivism just means that when they come out, they go back in. Now, you heard what he said. He said statistically, once they get out, they go right into the homeless. They go to homeless. They go into the homeless. They go to shelters. They go into the shelters because they didn't have a family to go to. Some of them been in jail for decades. All their family members died. And they release them into the public with nothing. That's why Vocal New York has been advocating for them to get a livable like release amount. Like they give them money, they give them like this ridiculously low amount of money. It's just a lot going on. And there's a lot of people that don't even want to care about them. So it really comes down to who do you care about and what policies are important to you? Okay? Let's go back to, I'm saying it's not too long. Let's go back to him.
Imperatives, because it costs the city more than $500,000 a year to keep someone on Rikers Island. And if you have such a large population of New Yorkers with SMI on Rikers Island, you then have to ask, what's the best way of actually engaging and dealing with SMI? And I have been quite taken by the clubhouse model, by fountain houses. You know, that fountain house that we have here in New York City, I think there are about 16 clubhouses. They are centers, peer-led rehabilitative centers for New Yorkers with SMI. They have been proven to reduce hospitalization by up to 45%, increase employment rates by 50%, decrease loneliness by 56%, and actually reduce the cost of Medicaid of when used for those members by more than 20%. And the cost of an entire year's worth of service is $4,000. That is 3 days on Rikers Island. How does it make sense that we are willing to invest in this, but we are not willing to invest in this? And some of this is a question of funding, but even in the bureaucracy, you know, Mayor Adams put forward restrictions in an RFP that made it difficult for a smaller size clubhouse to even be possible, right? It's a lack of interest and a lack.
Okay, I know that some of y'all not understanding this. I don't know why now all of a sudden he's talking in acronyms. So that the SMI is about mental illness, right? So that's the seriously mentally individuals. An RFP is a request for proposal for nonprofits. Okay. Now we do have to take in consideration who he's talking to. He's talking to a bunch of college students, which may be in this field, but that's not the point. The point is they do come to the community to talk. And when in my opinion, in my experience, when they come to the community, they don't talk about real issues, like he is talking about in that college setting. And I don't know how many people really doing their research looking at the conversations they have with Columbia students. You know what I'm saying? I know he said he's doing that, but I'm just saying this is a problem because when he is with the general public, when we are in general public, they want to chuck and jive with us. They dancing. They want to show us that they can twerk. Do you understand why I have a problem with this? When they with the general population, they go so low that it don't make no sense. They talk about I can eat a pizza on the train. They talking about I smoke weed. That's what's going on here. That's all they give us. Like we don't have issues. When they talk to the general public, they do that stupid stuff. I listen to Tupac. Like we don't care about issues. Yeah, you want us to vote for you. You want us to vote for you because you can do a popular dance. He was rapping in the. You understand what I'm saying? See how they focus? They're not talking about issues like this, and I don't understand. Mandami never had a job, but that's the stuff Cuomo's saying, which doesn't make any sense. A job is assemblyman. That is a job. He's an assemblyman. He said he's been an assemblyman since 2021. My question is, who voted him in there, and why? What was his talking points to get him that position? Because I've run for position and I didn't get in. So who was his backers then? Somebody got him in there, and he's in there to the point that he wants to run for mayor. Y'all don't think that's crazy? I think it's crazy, and I think it makes him come off like a puppet or like an agent. Like P said right here, he doesn't have his homeland accent. He's an agent. Okay, so I would say he's a puppet in that he has a very high likeliness to be controlled, because what is his experience and why are they running him for mayor? I have no interest. Now, when it comes to Curtis, who's been advocating and in the city, in the streets and everything as an advocate for decades, I say give him a chance. I don't care. They let actors be the president. Remember that. Ronald Reagan was the actor. Y'all want to play games. Saliva is an advocate. Saliva can be the mayor. I'm open to Saliva being the mayor more than I am to Madami. Okay.
Lack of will at both the bureaucratic, the technical, and also the questions of funding.
Well, also at the political level, right? I mean, when a fountain house or a similar proposal comes up in a neighborhood and folks want to march in the streets, go to court, call the mayor names, say you're destroying our quality of life, what are you going to say to those people?
Well, I will tell them that I have been called many names in this campaign, and some of them are by my opponents who just can't seem to say my real name. But part of this is you have to be willing to fight for these policies. It is not going to be easy to build the number of protected bike lanes, busways that I've spoken about. It means you have to be able to actually stand up and understand that there will be opposition, and yet that oftentimes that is a magnified opposition that in terms of sound and impact, it dwarfs the sentiments of the more than 1 million New Yorkers who ride that bus traveling at an average speed of 8 miles an hour. I mean, look at the Fordham bus loan. Like, you know, that you would have the mayor taking phone calls from the Botanical Garden to say that we don't want this, but not thinking about the thousands of New Yorkers who sit on those buses that are suffocated by traffic. I think that these are the kinds of fights. They are different topics, they are different policies, but they do require a common thing, which is political.
Oh, that's another one you voting for. You voting for your district attorney. I'm not trying to talk about the district attorney. Oh my goodness, my give me a minute. My tabs are trying to move. Okay, so I'm not trying to talk about the district attorney, but the district attorney is someone you're voting for. All I want to say, since that had popped up about the district attorney, is that we got one black man and 2 white women running against him, and I just don't feel. I don't agree with everything with Bragg, but I'm gonna go with the black man on this because I just don't feel like a white woman is going to have sympathy or favor for a black man. I just don't. I don't trust those women. I don't trust them. So I'm sticking with Bragg just because, you know, I listened to him. I listened. Elra Lewis had a debate with the district attorney, so y'all can check that out. And Bragg seemed like to me when he was talking that he had his reasons for why he does what he does, but I mean it's outrageous. Like he really, I think anybody that knows his policies would definitely agree that he's soft on crime. He really doesn't think that it's a big deal for petty theft, you know, them going robbing the stores. He's like, you know, it's not major enough for him to want to put these people in jail. And I'm not saying that either, but I think the people need to talk. I think the public needs to come up with a different something. We have to have a better conversation. And I'm saying the community meetings I've been to, they're not talking about this stuff. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I personally been to community meetings, right? I went to this community meeting where they was talking about the vendors on 125th Street. And the vendors were saying that they weren't allowing them to renew their permits. They said that they were the city, which is right, Black Mayor Adams. They were saying that they weren't getting any favor to get their vendor's license renewed and all this kind of stuff. They was making these complaints, and I thought they were very interesting because it sounded like they weren't trying to assist these people to be able to have a vendor license and sell their products on 125th Street because whoever trying to move in don't want to see them. They don't want them on the sidewalk. So because they don't want them on the sidewalk, they're not letting them. Let me see what Peace said. They evicted Black Americans out of New York during crack epidemic, and now they replaced with African Muslims. I never had no African Muslim neighbors or Mexican neighbors. All this shit happened overnight here in Lower East Side. Mandami wants non-driver cars. I don't listen. I don't want Mandami, but I wanted to just show. I want y'all to see that I feel like, you know, the media is trying to make him like he is the black. He's like for Black people, but I don't really see Black people supporting him in his audience. I feel like Black people are kind of sitting this out. I don't understand. I don't know what the black people doing. Okay, because they weren't really in the No Kings rally. You look at the footage for No Kings Day. Where the black people? There's a whole bunch of white people, droves and droves of white people. Where are the black people? What are the black people doing? What are they interested in? What are they interested in? Who's mobilizing the black people? Now, yes, Reverend Al Sharpton had the black people do the March on Wall Street. But what did that result in? And at the March on Wall Street, he had Mandami. Zoran was there. He said he invited everybody, but only Zoran attended. That's disturbing to me. I think that's very disturbing. But I want you to just see this footage right here for the rally he had in Queens. So Zoran had a rally in Queens, New York, with Bernie Sanders and AOC. Her nickname was AOC. I can't stand AOC. AOC was at the Puerto Rican Day Parade, raising the hand of Mandami. African Muslims supporting him. They used to be uptown, not downtown New York. Okay, let's see this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, New York City! How we all doing? Habibi, how are you? It is so good to see you all here tonight. Now, as you know, a politician is only as good as the team around them. So I have to ask that team to start up this teleprompter. Because right now, it's off the top of the dome. And while we wait, why don't we actually begin? Can we first hear a round of applause for our incredible MC, Sarah Sherman? Can we hear it for the elected officials, the labor leaders, and the New Yorkers who have joined us this evening? And can we hear it for Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
I just want to make sure y'all know that that's AOC. He's talking about AOC. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is AOC. Okay, that's who we. When we say AOC, we talking about that woman. Now, I don't identify as racist, and I feel that New York is a melting pot, and I feel that New York City is unique because of all the cultures we have. What I'm saying is, when I see this, I just don't see Black people. I see what the Democratic Party has taken on as minorities. I see minorities. You understand? I see minorities. P said, I identify as prejudice and bias. So that's what they started doing, right? Instead of saying we fighting for black people and stuff, they started doing, well, we fighting for black and brown. And then they said we about the minorities, and the minorities include this group. Okay. And I don't think Curtis Sleeva, I think Curtis Sleeva gives off a more of a diverse, even if they don't want to really market him like that. When you look at his pictures and work with the Guardian Angels, he had everybody. You know what I'm saying? And some people call him a racist. So that's why I said you got to go with who speaks for you. Who speaks for you? Who is speaking on your policy issues? Who's going to really make a change? I mean, really, because I feel like if you a change maker, when we've already known you, when you've been making a change already. And when he mentions labor leaders, something that I'm disturbed about is because I know a lot of labor leaders, right? Shop stewards and stuff. And though they may never come on my channel and say this, I had a shop steward that I talked to that said they had found that a bunch of illegal immigrants was using the same social security number and to get a job. And I have been in a job where the indie, I don't want to sound racist. I don't know if indie sounds racist. I want to say one of the Kamalas, does that sound racist? Anyway, he was of Indian descent. He had the contract for the cell phones, because at the job I was working at that time, and a lot of my jobs, because I work in the field, they gave us a company cell phone. And they had a change of staff, and the new staff guy that came in found out that guy had given cell phones to his family members and friends of the family. Okay. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm just saying that fraud and all that kind of stuff, it's usually from the top to the bottom. It's not something that top people don't know. They get in a position and they hook up their friends. They got people in HR, whatever, because how you don't know you got the same, right? It's some stuff be getting passed because maybe they paying cash or they giving them less money, whatever. But the shop steward told me directly, because these people in the labor unions, they know some of the shit that be going down. And if you notice, a lot of them are foreigners too. Former foreigners, whatever. I don't know. I just know that this is not new. People been getting people in that was undocumented for years. And I just look, when you see this, it's just like, look at this. I would have appreciated the Kamala group looking like that, because Kamala, they were saying she's a black woman. No, she was a mixed woman. And this is her people too. This is her people. But at least he ain't hiding it.
Yeah, very good. There are many things one can say about our congresswoman, but I want to tell you a story about 2021. When we went on a 15-day hunger strike and won $450 million in debt relief for working class taxi drivers. The Congresswoman was there with us on that picket line. She was there with us on the phone after everyone else had gone home. And she was there with us again in the primary of this election. And that's because she's there for working people. And now we are just getting started. And let's
I don't know why it's getting fuzzy now, but they wouldn't push Kamala like this. She was on a national level, but see, they don't mind pushing Mandami. Am I saying his name right? Let's go with Zoran. They don't mind pushing Zoran like this because it's New York. But New York is supposed to be the thing that all the people watch. So why is they comfortable showing him like this? I just think it's very unusual. And I think that is the strangest thing. When I saw this, I said, what in the multicultural, where the black people? I just kept saying to myself, where's the black people? Where are they? Are they not in New York? I was like, hold up. They all went down south. They in Atlanta. I said, look at this. I said, what's going on here? Did they fly people in? But this is in Queens, and this is real time. So I'm like, the people need to be engaged and go out here and vote and stop playing, because this is not a joke. He says, it's insulting. I don't know them people. And why? But my question is, and why would Adams drop out? Name still on, like he dropped out, and his name it's something's wrong to me. He come running down there with the picture of his mother blown up. Did he have that already? It just, everything is just off to me. Playing for Frank Sinatra's "I Did It My Way." Why? What was all of that? And what is all of this? What is all of this? It's weird to me.
please make some noise for Senator Bernie Sanders. I stand before you tonight only because the senator dared to stand alone for so long. I speak the language of democratic socialism only because he spoke it first. And when I ran for state assembly almost 6 years ago to the day, it was at Bernie's rally in Queensbridge Park where I led our first canvass. Signing people up for our email lists, asking them for $5 or $10, and encouraging them to believe that the politics of not me, us applied to our state government just as much as our national one. When we win on November 4th, and then govern from City Hall with dignity as the foundation of our politics, it will be because of the movement that Bernie built. I stand before you tonight as the nominee of a Democratic Party reinvigorated in its pursuit of making government work for everyone, not just the wealthy and the well-connected. Looking out at more than 13,000 of you here in Forest Hill Stadium, it is tempting to believe that this moment was always destined. Yet when we launched this campaign on October 23rd, 1 year and 3 days ago, there was not a single television camera there to cover it. When we launched this campaign 1 year and 3 days ago, my name was a statistical anomaly in every poll. 4 months later, as recently as this February, our support had reached the eye-watering heights of 1%. We were tied with noted candidate.
District Attorney Alvin Bragg created a new special victims unit to fully support women who
Why
report
is he
sexual
showing
assault and
us
abuse.
It's been a
Alvin
sea
Bragg
change in the way the
commercials?
office
This is
responds
crazy.
to and supports survivors.
Oh my God, that's how it went off? What? You heard him? He said, this is the movement for Bernie that Bernie built. Do you feel comfortable with that? Bernie Sanders said he wasn't into reparations for black people. Bernie Sanders, they was calling him a nut. Talking to animals in the trees and making him go viral because he had on mittens with no hat. I mean, it's just, I mean, if you look at it, it's like New York has nothing but nuts and clowns running. And who you gonna pick? I'm picking that Saliva. I'm picking Curtis. Curtis is the one. We can't play around with good cop, bad cop. Zoran and Cuomo. They're the same coin. They're Democrats. They just playing good cop, bad cop with us. They're allowing Cuomo to split the votes between the Democratic Party. Cuomo was supposed to not even be in this. He's playing good cop, bad cop. They just lying to us because they're trying to make sure that the Democrats get in case you don't feel comfortable with Zoran. Cuomo's like, I'm the guy. But how you gonna have you got two Democrats on the line? It's outrageous. It's just good cop, bad cop. You gotta go with Saliva. If you don't want this nonsense, you gotta go with Saliva because I'm saying it's still an extension of what it was always. They was trying to get us to deal with Kamala. People didn't go with her. So now they still on the same, they're not changing their game book. They're not listening to us. They're not changing their game book. Why would they? They're like, this is what we want. So in the midst of all of this, since they getting rid of the migrants, they decided, I'm just gonna shut down the government altogether because I'm gonna get paid regardless. And because they've been closed for a month, no one's doing the paperwork. So now they're saying that by Saturday, November 1st, people that are on EBT is not going to get any money. And I don't believe that this is a real response to that. I'm going to show you this. I think this is bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. Okay? This is bullshit. I don't believe this.
From EBT, I used to get $740 a month for my two kids, and we're not getting EBT no more. They took the EBT. They saying I gotta work 20 hours a week. I'm not working for nobody. Get the fuck out of here. This is what Americans, taxpayer, work for us. They work for me. They gotta help me feed my fucking kids. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be quitters now. Y'all been helping us all this fucking time. Now y'all want to tap out. Get the fuck out of here.
Make that make sense. It's for you to laugh. And it's so sad and ridiculous because this is a serious issue. And he's talking about he's not working. He said that's what y'all do. He said, don't tap out now. Americans work for me. What is he talking about? He is being insulting. Are y'all looking at this stuff? I don't understand how people that are on public assistance is not infuriated by the content that they've been allowing to circulate on the social media. You know, it's outrageous and it's very offensive. And this is due to the Democrats. Okay?
Yeah, I want my EBT, yo. I want my EBT, and I'm not working for nobody. I'm a fucking boss. What the fuck I look like working when the government is here to help?
He said he's a boss. Now, we have to be for real here. There have been people that say that, yes. But oftentimes they're drug addicts. Do we say drug addicts anymore? They're medically dependent. They just have lost their mind. They have lost their mind. You tell them, you got to get back in the workforce. And I ain't getting back in the work. I'm a boss. I run things. They say that. They do. They do say that with a straight face, like he's saying. In the shelter. They're in the shelter talking about that they're a boss. And they're not taking no entry-level job because they fell when they was up there. Because they got dependent on substances that took them out. And now they can't get themselves back together. And when you talk to them, they talk crazy like this. But this guy, he's a content creator. And he is making fun of a horrible situation. Just like the Democrats are. Because the Democrats are the ones allowed it. They will go all out of their way to give them people that came in here illegally, putting them up in luxury hotels where they had active maids cleaning up their place, yo. Like this was not a joke. In New York, they had people placed in luxury hotels with regular New Yorkers. They put them in hotels near the airport and stuff. They dinkiest hotels. They put them in hotels with there's bed bugs. But with these people that they trying to impress, they trying to give them this, they trying to make sure that they know that America is the American dream. They was putting them in luxury hotels that have been impacted by financially by the pandemic. And they had them in there, yo. Like they didn't let the residents go there. You was supposed to know they did that. Democrats is crazy. They was letting people that they came in illegally and putting them in luxury hotels. When an average person gets thrown into this like Motel 8 hotel with no staff and bed bugs, it's crazy. It's like your mom's treating the friend that you have. Your guests come over, the mom will have a friend over, and she's like doing the most to the point you like, Mom, what you doing? That's how America roll. They be on something. When you with mom, she be like, cook. You better make your own food, honey. Don't play with me. Mom, what you cook for dinner? What you cook for dinner? What did you cook for dinner? But let the migrants, let the guests come. Oh, it's so wonderful that I have a guest. Oh, and they got an 8-course meal. Unbelievable.
Come on, y'all send all that money to Iraq, Ukraine. Y'all funding all these wars, but when it's time to help the Americans, y'all don't want to fucking help us. I need my fucking EBT, yo. I need my money, yo. I need my fucking EBT. Stop fucking playing with me, yo. Just woke up.
Hilarious. It's not to be believed. he is doing a skit of the most entitled, and that's what they've been running, so they can get a check from Google. And I'm just sick of it because nobody says that. Now, you know what? I'm not going to say nobody says that because, you know, in a way, some of these people are. I was looking at some of those videos, and one of the videos said that it was. I'm like, are they? This is not for real. Number one, it's not real. And I can't believe some people doing commentary on it like it's real. It's not real. Like y'all are disappointing me for even thinking that when the person puts their words together like that. They said some of these people are hood rich. Now, I can accept that because some of the people that was in it from foster care, you know, they have 24-hour staff. The staff is doing their laundry, they cooking. I was in a residential for developmentally disabled people. I had to cook the meal for everybody on my floor. Not only did I have to cook the meal, I had to prepare their lunches. I had to clean them. I had to make sure their laundry was folded and put away. They didn't do anything. So yeah, they're kind of hood rich. I can see that. I can understand that. Right? And so the government be cutting these programs because they be like, the staff ain't doing nothing. The staff ain't doing nothing. Because some of the staff, they get too comfortable. They be stealing stuff. A lot of corruption. Right? So they be like, we're going to cut the program. We don't need all this staff up in here. We don't need all the staff. We're going to make them do double work. We're going to make them do doubles, triples, do all kind of legal stuff, right? And the people that are being serviced, that are receiving the services, they're not learning nothing. You don't make them cook. They're not cooking. I remember I was working, and I might have told this story before. Y'all might have heard this story. I must say it again. I had these two Irish guys, and the Irish guys was racist, and they was like, I'm sick of these Caribbeans making food for me. They always putting this shit in the pot. I don't want it. I said, what do you want? I just want a baked potato. Can I have a baked potato? They doing all of this stuff, putting these things in it. What is this? And he's just talking about like bay leaves and stuff. So I made him a baked potato. And his brother said he wanted a baked potato. I made him a baked potato. Oh, they were so happy. But the staff got upset with me saying that I'm accommodating them too much. And I told them that the rules, we all had onboarding. They said if someone refuses the food, you're supposed to give them two other options. You're not supposed to say like they're your child. If you don't eat what I cook, you don't eat at all. This is a business. Like people are crazy. We in a job, yo. You can lose your job and be banned from working with vulnerable people altogether doing wild shit. People do wild shit in these places too. They don't care. But when it comes to entitlement and freeloaders, that is an issue. That is an issue. But you can't forget that there are needy families. Like there was people having a conversation saying, regardless of these people on EBT and getting these services, the only meal that a lot of these kids was having was at school. Now, why is that? If the family has financial assistance, why is the kid still coming to school hungry? Right? Because they're not getting nobody cooking for them. There's some facilities that's happening. You got some shelters. I've been there. I have worked as a staff there, right? Where they have a cafeteria. There's a cook there. The people, all they got to do is go down to get the food at the time that they're giving them the food. They're not cooking. So you giving people that don't cook a bunch of vegetables and dry beans, something they never was dealing with. It's almost hilarious. What's almost hilarious to me, how crazy it is. These people be throwing away that stuff. They don't care about it. They're not used to it. They're not doing these things. You act like these people giving these people cooking classes. They're not investing their money in that. They don't want to. They're just doing stuff to say they did it. They're giving them stuff. First of all, they're giving people in shelters canned goods like they got a cooking facility. These people are not in they don't have, the cooking facility is not in their apartment. Everybody doesn't have the same situation. It's just outrageous. That's why they was giving them a food allowance in the first place. But they don't have a place where they can make meals. So they give them food allowance. So they go to some store and get food. That's why a lot of those corner stores are saying, oh, we don't do hot food. Some of them corner stores let them get by. And somebody would have the nerve to report them, and then they have a person coming undercover to see that they're doing, because it's like, how they gonna tell? They giving you paper receipts. Them receipts not itemizing what they have there. It's just a whole bunch of nonsense. And it's the Democrats that are doing it. The Democrats are letting people know, the thing that's so crazy to me. You got a family with a mother that's never worked in her life. She's never had a legit job. She didn't do summer youth. She didn't do any of these programs that you have access to. She never worked. She got children. She doesn't have a job. Somebody sees that, takes advantage and say, let me claim your kids. I'll give you some money. Let me claim your kids. People been claiming their kids. These people, they get taken advantage of all the time. People see them as just suckers. And they don't know you getting all this money for them for having claiming their kids, because you breaking them off with $500 or whatever. Whatever amount they getting is not the amount that people really get. It's just messy. It's, how many kids you got? Oh shit. They be telling other people that you claim some of these kids. This person, people do this. That's all illegal. All of this stuff is crazy to me. How people talking like it's something new. It's not new. People claim people. These people don't work. They didn't work. Nobody was caring because they claiming their kids. They doing all kind of crazy stuff. They taking advantage of them. They got phones and everything on these kids. These not adults. I don't understand how did they even get by with this? These people, they're creating debt on these kids. These kids they're not even adults. How are they doing this? It's outrageous, but it ain't new. So the outrage is fake. It's to distract. This is distractions. For what? What are they trying to distract us from? That's what I want to know. I think it's to distract us from the AI. I think they're gonna roll out some new bullshit. That's what I think. No people, no staff. They rolling out because a lot of the staff are the ones that are letting things slide. Just like when you go to the supermarket, right? Come on now. We are working. Okay, we're working. So you got a cashier working at the supermarket, and somebody's using somebody else's card. The cashier is supposed to, by law, ask for the ID. She already know that's not your picture. Excuse me, can I have some ID? And the person be like, what? What? You better give me you better keep it moving, boo-boo. Because you get the card and the number, but there's got a picture on it. It ain't dumb. The store owner is supposed to listen. Now, the cashier is supposed to confiscate the card. It's not yours. They supposed to Nobody gonna be fighting with these wild people over that. You crazy? Nobody's gonna be doing that. Except you go in a white neighborhood. That's why they won't even bother in the white neighborhood, because the white neighborhoods, they ain't playing that. But in our neighborhood, nobody fighting back and forth over this bullshit. You crazy? No. But they said, let me see your ID. Can I see your ID? I ain't bring it. I ain't bring my ID. That's enough ID. Like you gonna say as a cashier, you getting minimum wage. I don't care if I'm getting $20. I'm not doing it. They're not doing all of that. These people been that's why it's there, because people can take advantage. They know these people ain't doing that. They ain't used to nothing. So there's people that this is what I would say about the Democrats. I would say that the Democrats was the shepherd over the sheep. And for whatever reason, the shepherds have decided to fall back because they so mad with Trump. So they fell back and they have allowed the sheep to fall prey of wolves. And that video is an example of wolves playing around, because inciting people to anger about stuff you already know people take advantage of is ridiculous to me. You already know that. You know that they're doing that because you don't want to be bothered with them. And nobody want to train these people, teach them what to do with it, because they're grown-ups already. They're already adults. And nobody want to be bothered with them. So you let them have that stuff. Keep them out of your hair. And now you want to play these games or get a job. Listen. So we got these training programs right here in Harlem. You have to take a TABE test. TAB or TABE, right? You got to pass that test to even go into the program. Now, they said the average Americans got a 3rd grade reading level. Did you see the report? The TAB test wants you to be on 8th or 10th grade level for you to even get into the program. So make that make sense. So you got these programs that make you take a TAB test. Are you familiar with the TAB test? They make them take TAB tests in order to, qualify for the program. All programs have some kind of qualifications that you must meet in order to, qualify for the program. And they ain't just trying to take anybody. Just in case you never heard of it, because I don't see. I need something that tells you the guidelines of what you got to pass for the TAB test, TABE test, TAB test, whatever. So the test of adult basic education is your TAB test. That stands for Test of Adult Basic Education. It's designed to assess the skills and knowledge of adult learners in various academic areas. It helps identify strengths and areas of improvement. And importantly, you cannot fail the TABE test, as it is meant to gauge your baseline skills. Now, that's what they're saying here. But in reality, if you don't meet the guidelines of that program, whether you take this test, they're not going to let you in the program, because you've demonstrated that the materials will be too difficult for you to understand. Do you understand? I know you understand me, because the people that I have are not, y'all very educated. But I need to, or you can look it up. I need to show you what's the average program TAB test results they have to do. I don't really do well with doing these searches, but I know you gotta score a certain amount. Wait a minute. Anyway, I don't see it where they're telling us, but you got to score a certain amount for a lot of these programs. And if you, it's no different than your GED. If you tab 11th and 12th grade, yeah, okay. So if I just need reviewing scores, learning pace sessions. What are the tab results? What this is? Anyway, I don't see it. But if you was to take the GED, and I don't think it's called GED anymore. I think it's called, I want them to say it though. I think it's just HSE. I needed to say that for y'all. Does it tell us anything? Okay, they say GED practice tests. But I went to a meeting where they said they don't call it GED no more. They call it high school equivalency diploma. Anyway, I don't know. I know what they did in the meetings I've been to. Now listen. You can't pass your GED, you're not gonna get a GED. Hey, Proud, thanks for passing through. So yeah, okay, what's up? Buenos noches. No, that's not. Buenos tardes. ¿Cómo estás? Yes. So there's a lot of people that take the GED test, HSE, whatever you want to call it, and they do not pass it. They could just be maybe 2 points off. But the bottom line is that they failed, right? And then they have to wait like 6 months to take the test again. You can't just fail the test, say, I should have known, and then try to take it the next day. No, they just don't let you do that. Now you got to wait 6 months. So if the job that you wanted was hell-bent on you having your high school diploma, you're not going to get that job because you don't have the high school diploma. But people talk so general to people because they don't want to be bothered anyway. Okay? So they just brush them off. They're very nasty. And they don't even try to ask any decent questions because they don't have no resources for them. They're not trying to help them. You know what I'm saying? Like if you know the issues of the community, why don't you already have that information? When I come to a community meeting, I should always have information about high school equivalency programs, all these things. But instead, because people don't really care, they don't have that information. Because there's always a reason why a person isn't working. There's barriers. There are obstacles that they're having a hard time maneuvering around. And so what are you doing to assist them with this? Because the reality is somebody advocated for them not to have to be bothered with people that is just too stupid for them. They can't be bothered. They said, oh no, this person, I can't believe this. So they make them take these tests. I remember security job. They had the security job where they wanted a writing sample. And one of the guys I was trying to help get a job, which I didn't know they was going to have a writing sample. I didn't know. I just knew this guy that had a security business, and he was asking for other guys. And he said, if you know anything, send them through. So I knew this guy, and I sent him over. And he failed the writing sample. They said they couldn't understand what the hell he wrote. He had a sample, he had a test. And on the test, he had to submit a writing sample. And he could not, he maybe wrote something, but they couldn't understand it. It was not legible. But he wrote it, and that's because sometimes security got to write reports. And if the guy can't submit a report, if he can't write that report, they don't need him because they can get somebody else that can write write the report. I mean, there's situations going on, just like when I was working in those low performing elementary schools. I was working with like 5 low performing elementary schools. There will be an incident. When there's an incident, you have to write a report, and they have to get the witnesses to write a report. And the kids, we couldn't read what the hell that they was trying to say. Like when they was explaining what happened, we couldn't understand what the hell they was trying to say. Like what happened, what they was. They so used to just telling us, verbally talking to us, to talking to people. And they weren't used to writing incident reports, which is not a problem. But what are you in school doing? Like, it's just like how you can't write it. And then that's when I found out they wasn't letting them do cursive in school no more. But we needed them to sign the report. And the girl put an X. And I said, what is this? I said, I need you to sign your name. She said, I don't have to do nothing but put an X. That's what they told me. I only got to put an X. I said, you don't know how to sign your name? And I said, so what are they doing in these schools? I said, this is a real pipeline to prison. I said, these people don't know how to write a report. We can't understand what the hell are they doing? What are they doing in school for 8 hours? What is going on here? It was extremely disturbing. It was extremely disturbing. Okay? And I was getting extremely frustrated. I couldn't take it. And it was like a whole nother world right here in the city. I was in East New York and Brownsville. And you talking about nut stuff. It wasn't making no sense. And so I tried to get some resources into the schools and get relationships with fraternities and sororities. And the boss said to stop. She told me to stop that. That's not necessary. She said, we are just here to observe. I was with a mental health thing. I was with a mobile response unit. She said, we are just here. She's a white woman. She said, this is just what she said to me. I'm not lying to you. She said, we are simply here to observe these people. We are but the fabric of the community. She said, we're not here to change anything. And I was like, what? That was outrageous to me. And I got fired from that job. Couldn't get no unemployment. I was supposed to do a proper exit. They got me. They got me good at that job. They got me. I don't hear about that program. But anyway, you get fired. You usually could get, it's not with your fault of your own, you get unemployment. They was able to block me from that job. They got me good. But I said, I don't care. I said, I don't need to be here. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to be there. But they got me good. Let me tell you something. I was at this job where the girl that was doing the this is a true story. True story. I'm telling you story time. I was at this job where the girl who was doing reconciling, she gets the receipt for the money that you receive from petty cash. She got sick and they needed somebody to cover for her because she got sick. So they asked me to assist in the interim. And people was trying to give me notes. They were trying to give me notes or menus. And I said, what is this? And they said, oh, I'm explaining that I spent the money. This is how I spent the money. I said, you show me how you spent the money by giving me the receipt. No, I don't have the receipt or the story. I said, but then you have to give me back the money. I said, you know that you're supposed to give me the receipts. They was trying to tell me that the menu is the receipt. I said, the menu is not a receipt. They couldn't stand me. And this girl, she took her phone. She had a flip phone. And she took her phone and she threw the phone at me. And I'm telling you, that was this Holy Spirit. I just happened to back up. I didn't know she throwing the phone. She threw the phone at me. And I happened to move like that. The phone went right past my face. And I was like, what? And she was like, why don't you just quit? Why don't you just quit already? She couldn't stand me. This is working. This is people working. The thing that people tell you to go get a job. Like working is so easy. But whatever. I love listening to people tell you about get a job, just get a job, blah, blah, blah. Like working is so easy. I was at this job where I had worked from the morning and the afternoon evening shift, and a staff person didn't show up, and they said they trying to keep me there. And I said, excuse me, it's illegal to make me do a third shift. I've already did 2 shifts. It's time. I'm going to go. And they was like, no, you can't go. I said, I've already worked 2 shifts. Call the supervisor. The supervisor's on call. I've already worked 2, and I got my stuff and I got out of there. And they tried to, they took me, they wrote me up and said I abandoned the residents and put the people in jeopardy. And I had to go, I had to get it was a whole investigation. I had to go to HR and talk to the main. That's how I met one of the main people at the job, because they wrote me up saying that I left them vulnerable without staff. And I said they was trying to force me to do a third shift, sir. I said, do we need to take this any further? I said, because that's illegal. I already worked 2 shifts, sir. 2 8-hour shifts. People, they talk. I just love listening to people talk about work. And it's okay for you to get upset when they say you have to do a mandatory 20 hours, when people be working, they be working 40 hours or more, right? At jobs, 60 hours. And these people get mad for an 8-hour a month or 20-hour a week shift requirement, which is volunteer. So technically you might not be doing nothing. They just want you to be not sleeping in your house. But anyway, that was one time, right? That was one time, because they was trying to, and they got in trouble for that. Okay. But they put me back in that residence. And I was in a hostile environment, because they couldn't make me do the third shift. I said, that's the supervisors are on call. That's why they on call. They have to wake up whenever and do what they got to do. I said, it's not my problem. That is not my problem. I said, that's why the supervisor gets the big money, because they are on call. I'm not on call. So anyway, they was trying to get me. It was horrible there. After that, they put me back in that house. But anyway, I was at this other site, and at the other site that I was at, this is just work, right? So you at work. I'm got a 2 to 10 shift. The 8 a.m. person didn't come to work. So the staff that was there was doing double work, because the 8 a.m. didn't show up. So when I came at 2, they gave me the 8 a.m. Now that person was 8 to 8. That person that they gave me was an 8 to 8 shift. I come in at 2 p.m. They wanted to get that person. They wanted to get rid of that person. So they gave it to me. I told the supervisor, I said, excuse me. I said, that's not my client. That's an 8 a.m. client. They said, she's going to get relieved, but we just need you for the interim. I said, okay, no problem. They always get in trouble when they put me in an interim position, because I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, okay, they put me in that. All right. I never had this client before. This client, probably told y'all the story before. I'm going to tell you again. This client we found out she had been dropped and she was bruised. She had bruising. Now, they tried to say I'm the one who dropped her, And I said, I just broke it all the way down because I'm not a stupid person. I said, excuse me, this is an 8 to 8 person. I came here at 2 p.m. You can check the records. I came at 2 p.m. This person was already dressed. I said, I was not aware that there was any issues with her because I met her dressed. I said, the only reason I found out there was any bruising is because they asked me to give her a shower to put her in bed at 8 o'clock. They never took that client away from me. But I still had to be there after the 8 because it's not an 8 to 8 for me. I'm a 2 to 10. So they was trying to act like I'm the one who hurt her. I said, who is the one who dressed her this morning? They didn't want to answer that. And I said, listen to me. It's whoever had her either overnight or whoever had it to dress in the morning. Who dressed her? Because usually the overnight person is the one who prepares them for the morning. They had a whole investigation on that I had to be wrapped up in. They had me wrapped up in that damn investigation because that woman had broken ribs. You hear me? And they was trying to say I did it. I said, no, impossible. I said, it wasn't me. How's she black and blue? I got here at 2 p.m. She's already black and blue. She was a white woman. Though they wasn't going to get me. They wasn't going to get me, but they tried. That's the job. That's workforce for you. Always somebody trying to do some bullshit. They tried to get me. And then I had another site. I was at a day program. Okay. This is crazy. Let me tell you something. So some of the clients, they have incontinence. That means they pee on themselves. And the nurse doesn't necessarily give them a diaper protocol, right? So people that have incontinence usually have diaper protocols. But if they determine that if you just give them proper cues, they'll go to the bathroom on their own. You got to monitor them. A person being able to do that is usually only have to be a one-to-one. They cannot have multiple clients. Let me see. She says, oh, you talking 12, you needed to be fired. You living in the old world, to wake up. It's a different now. Listen to me. You think you're gonna help people 12. One day you understand this world is different. AI gonna fix humanity. No more helping on jobs. That's supposed to be help people. Listen to me. I was at this job and they asked me to take this guy to the bathroom. Okay. They can't stand him because he doesn't have a diaper protocol and he's always urinating. So I don't have this client. They asked me to take him to the bathroom. I never been to the bathroom because I don't have clients that need me to take them to the bathroom, right? So I took the kid to the bathroom. When I took him to the bathroom, I noticed somebody was in the stall, right? So I knocked on the door. I said, excuse me, how long you been in here? Because it looked like it's moving. So I opened the bathroom just to see that the guy was sleeping and they had secured him to the toilet. And the only reason they did that is because he urinates a lot and he's not on a diaper protocol. So they don't want to be bothered with him, even though we have a wash and dry in the facility. And that's abuse. I would have never seen it if the lazy ass coworker didn't send me to the bathroom. I didn't have nobody to take to the bathroom. But for whatever reason, they sent me to the bathroom. Maybe they wanted to get somebody in trouble. All I know is that was all you needed. That's all I needed to see. Okay. And I was like, a person sleeping on a toilet? I went right to the supervisor. Said somebody tied this person to the bathroom? That's abuse. Yeah. And that guy that did that, he left. He got out of there. He left that job. You hear me? Oh, he was gonna get fired. The guy was sleeping. because they don't have diapers. People can't listen. The staff can't stand being with clients that have incontinence that don't got a diaper protocol. And then the people that got diaper protocol, the reason why they tried not to put them on, because the staff don't change the diapers. These people peeing all the time. They don't want to change the diaper. What they do is before they get sent home, they change their diaper. So when people start having rashes and stuff, they don't understand. Just like when it comes to medication. So I was working in this residence. I didn't have medication. I didn't have clearance to do medication. And I had a client and her arm swelled up. And the supervisor was wondering, why is her arm swelling up like that? And I was like, I don't know. Just to find out that she wasn't getting her medication. And she wasn't getting her medication because the person that does the medication was doing a whole bunch of work. They got her overtaxed. She's doing too much work. So she would be forgetting all the people she got to give medication to in noon, right? At noontime. So they found out that, and I told them, I said, you can train me to be able to do medication. I don't have a problem doing it. And they was like, no, it's okay. She gonna do it, right? Because only a couple people did medication on the floor. And you have a nurse. Now, some residences had nurses that are permanently there. And then other residences have nurses that come and check. They come check the files. They don't necessarily check the people. But I remember how people couldn't stand people that didn't have diaper protocols, and how, they was like, but they just have to, you just have to remind them to go to the bathroom. They won't pee on themselves if you, and I'll never forget, one of the nurses said, we can't put them on a diaper protocol because they'll just end up having a rash because you'll never change them. That's what she said to the staff. She said, you'll never change them. And I was like, that's crazy. She said there's a washer and a dryer. We had washer. Every facility I went to, they had a washer and dryer. But the people, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to do that. And I was like, well, then they should have a one-on-one. Because if they got a one-on-one, the one-on-one, that's all they have. And they'll remember to do checking for the bathroom. But they said no, because they feel like the one-on-one is going to be doing no work. They always so worried about you not working. It's people that sit there. If you in a real work environment, there's always somebody working that thinks you doing too much. You ain't doing enough. Okay? There's always somebody like that. You're going to have dynamics wherever you go. There's always, you're going to always have to deal with bullshit. But when you get out of the workforce, you got to try to push yourself back in there. And I know some of y'all might be like, I can't do it, but you just got to deal with it. You got to deal with unfair things. Because you're a good worker, they're going to give you more work. That's all good worker get. You a good worker, they're going to give you more work. Then you're going to see somebody, you're going to be asking them, so what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you not my supervisor? There was this girl, she always got something to say to me at a job I was in one of these residences, and she would sit down on the couch and stare at me while I washed the floor. And she'd be staring at me, acting like I'm not washing the floor right. And I said, you can feel free to wash the floor if you like to. She was like, what? I said, would you like to wash the floor since you got so much to say? I said, I don't think washing the floor takes so much. It's not really that much to do. I said, you can feel free to do it. And she always was talking. She always had something to say. But in that place where I had got that guy in trouble, he quit. The staff tried to say I touched a guy inappropriately in the bathroom when I don't take people to the bathroom. After that, they didn't send me to the bathroom no more. So they had the police come. They had the NYPD come and pull me out of the classroom because there was an investigation that was saying that I touched somebody inappropriately. I asked, who is that? And I said, I don't have that client. They couldn't believe it. They had accused me of touching somebody that I never even met. That's how stupid they are. That's your coworkers. I never even met the guy that they said I touched. I didn't work in that classroom. But they was trying. When I saw that, I said, wow, these people are a hot mess. These people are special. And those people was practicing witchcraft. They was practicing witchcraft. It was wild in that place. But I was right there. This girl, she gonna want to come in the room, try to turn off the lights. And I sat there right in the dark. Look, we all in there. The people nonverbal. Like that. She turned the light off. She turned the light off. Look, the girl. Stop. Turned this girl. This is one of my coworkers. She came and she turned the light off in the room. That girl. Once the light went off, I was sitting there in the dark. And she comes back. Oh, why you didn't turn the light off? Why you didn't turn the light back on? Oh my God, you sitting in the dark. I can't believe it. And I said, why you turn the light off? I don't know what's wrong with you. She turned that light on. Goes back to girl. Girl went, but when the light was off, that girl was making no noise. I didn't turn the light off. But I was sitting there. Them people not stupid like that. She turned that light off. Girl stopped making noise. I was just sitting there. I was sitting there. I be sitting there in that job. I was sitting there in that job saying, look at this. I said, these co-workers really gonna be making a mess like that? That's what you got. And you can always get a job there. Because the staff always be leaving. Girl, she came to the program with shit all the way up the back of her neck. And they gave it to me to clean. You think I didn't clean her? I cleaned her. She had shit all the way up the back of her neck. Do you think I'll let that one slide? I did not let that one slide. I said, why did she come here with shit on her? I told y'all that story before too. I reported that house, the residence that she came from. I reported them. They gave her too many laxatives. And they're going to send her to the day program. Like we don't report people. I reported her program. Oh, they was complaining to me, talk about we get paid for the people. You gonna make people not sending the kids here. That's because of you. I said it's because of me that somebody gave somebody laxatives, was making her shit all the way up to the back of her neck. I said it's because of me. I said no, it's not because of me. I said it's because the people is not caring for them. That's abuse. I said you're gonna let abuse go unreported? And they was trying to say that it's not really that important, we don't have them for long. We don't want to get a bad name. We don't want to get a bad name. I said we don't want to get a bad name because we're not reporting abuse. They just didn't want me to say nothing. But I'm the one cleaning the shit. You could clean the shit if you don't want me to report it. You see somebody full of shit when they come in, don't give them to me. I'm gonna report it. I'm gonna report it because that's abuse. Okay, I don't have a problem writing. I don't have a problem writing. You know what I'm saying? But I don't miss it. I don't miss it. I don't miss it. I don't miss it. I haven't eaten at all today. But this is not no game. I don't miss it though. I'm gonna fight. You're gonna cause me to lose my job, the job that I'm doing, because it trickles down to you, your fraudulent ass. You know how many people and agencies that I worked at? This agency that I worked at, it doesn't exist anymore. Okay? I don't care. This is a nice refrigerator. See, this is a refrigerator. This is a refrigerator they should be showing when they talking about the shit that they got. Okay? This is what you got. You got this. And that's what you get. You get all of this when you don't cheat and you don't lie. There's nothing in your cupboards. You don't cheat and you don't lie. That's your reward. But guess what? You're not gonna die. You don't gotta eat every day. And you can call it a fast, or you can say I'm on OMAD, I'm on 1 meal a day, whatever. You're not eating out. It's luxury. You sit there and you look at them. But you know the facts. You just look at it and say, that's interesting. How did you get that? Like it. This, we stop asking questions. 12, stop asking questions. I know me. I know what I don't have. So I know something's not right. I know what I got. Now I was in the same place you was at. This woman, they said, don't wash your personal clothes at the facility. People was trying to wash their clothes at the facility. I take them, throw them right out. She, wow, oh my God, why did you throw the clothes out? Just to fuck with them, because I like to do that. I said, throw what out? I didn't see anything but the name on it. You just mess with them. We mess with each other. We have nothing better to do. They got me there doing a double shift anyway. They won't let me go home. You had mandatory overtime when you work in the residence, because you can't make them do what they're supposed to do. They want you to give them advance notice if you're not going to be there. But you know that people be calling out same day and don't get in no trouble. But let you try to do that, and you're going to get in big trouble. I said, oh, so the system knows how to work when it wants to? I said, but that wasn't what was going on, because they friends. They friends. That's her friend. She's friends with the supervisor. They go away together. And they might be having sex together. There's a lot of gay people. There's a lot of gay people and working with vulnerable people. They just, because you washing naked people. You with naked people all the time. Wash people. Wash special need people. And it's just like, that's the job the workforce center gave me. Right? You're not trying to be picky, right? You don't want to say you ain't trying to work. The workforce center gave me that job. I had never heard of it. I got that job through the workforce center. They said, oh, based on your resume, we think you would be a great fit for this. And I said, oh yeah. And they made me do like 3 interviews for that damn job. And you had to do a 28-year background check. A 28-year background check. You had to take blood and urine to work with this population. Can you believe that bullshit? Just to be around a bunch of assholes. You fighting over stupid stuff. Man, I don't miss it. I don't miss that job. This is again the other jobs. And I hate when people look at the resume and they say, "Oh, you have a lot of social service in your background." Oh, I don't really think that this job would be a good fit for you. I'm like, ma'am, I need money. I'm more than capable to do the job. You don't think that that's amazing? That people try to say you overqualified for a job, but yet y'all want to play these games. Oh, you gotta sit there. And there's plenty of jobs out there. Okay. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that there are barriers to certain things. Some people, is they want you to get your referral. You have to get referrals just to work for free. I had to get referrals to work for free at the council person's office. At the city council, they got, it's called what do they call it? Yeah, unpaid staff. And at NAN, they call it in-kind staff. That means you're just working for free. You working though, but you working with no income. Don't the Bible say a man that doesn't work shouldn't eat? So why, if I work, I can't eat? What is it with the free shit? I don't understand it. Something's just not right. Why do you have jobs where you don't have to get paid at all? This I don't understand. I don't understand it. I believe it. I believe the hospital got, because anywhere there's vulnerable people, they can fuck with you because you need the person. You need them. I remember this girl. I had this client, right? No, I haven't eaten. I haven't eaten that. Yeah, my son was gone, so I was like, let me get on here. I'm not even hungry. I stopped eating after my coworkers had put laxative in my food. I had got that. They got me. They put laxative in my food. It was horrible. And I stopped eating. So this is not me. Not eating is nothing. I started doing my shift with no food at all. I didn't want to eat around nobody. For me to eat around you, that means I really feel comfortable with you. I stopped eating at the workplace. Because one day, I took a client out. And we came back and my coworker said, oh, we put the food for you in the oven. And I went over to the oven. I told y'all this story before too. Some of y'all heard this story. I went over to the oven and they had the food for us in ceramic wrap. And I got the food. I put it out for me and the client. And I think when I said, this one is for you. I should have caught it then. This one is for you. And I said, thank you. And I should have known. I said, what are they being nice to me for? Just I was outside. I didn't catch it, yo. He said, this one is for you. And I said, thank you. And I ate that. I ate the food. Because see, at the residence, some people don't want to take their medication. So you crush it up and put it in their food. So they take their medication. That's why I say when people tell me they in a psych ward and they didn't take meds, I said that's highly unlikely. Because you're going to get your meds. You're going to get your meds. Time for me to go. I started sweating. I felt so hot. And I was like, oh. And I said, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I just like I couldn't get off the toilet. Like I kept shitting. And I said, what in the world? And I was like, ah. And they was like, are you all right? Are you all right? And I was like, oh, they done put some laxative in my food. Oh shit, they got me. Man, I didn't eat no more. I didn't eat no more. But I stayed at the job. I didn't leave my job. I did not leave my job. I got out of work. I'm an essential worker. I was an essential worker. I stayed right there. I stayed at my job. All the little antics some people do. And I went and eat. I didn't bring no food. I didn't eat. Let's be right there. I didn't even feel hungry. I was so silly, you know. This girl. She was trying to give me some candy. I said, no, thank you. She was like, you don't want no candy? I said, no, I don't want no candy. She was acting like she was so puzzled. Why didn't you? And that just made me suspicious of her even more. What you worried about me with candy for? What you give me? What you worried about me? What you worried about me with Candy? She was so weird. And she kept wanting on the beat. She went like, like I ain't, I've been, that's where you stay in the job. You're gonna learn some shit from your job. You're gonna learn some lessons. That was the last spot I was at. Like real. I mean, you always get opportunity to work overtime there. Random, but when the tree go up and if you go down, let me know and I'll come with you. I'm slowly getting back into the city. We can go for lunch and dinner. My tree. I want to see the tree and the holiday, the perfectus for sure. Oh yeah, they supposed to be. They supposed to have it up, but they not. They getting ready decorated. I remember. How that we went to another house and I didn't want to eat and they were saying you don't want to eat. I said nah, and I get nobody my phone number. I stopped doing that a long time ago. I stopped doing food and my number. So when I and I don't go to nobody's house. So when I went over to that girl's house, I was doing something I stopped doing. And I don't regret going over to that girl house because she needed me. It's just that it didn't result to me. It didn't result to me getting employment. But she said she trusted me, and it is what it is. But she lied. She said it. She did tell stories, but it is what it is. You can't stop being good to people if they're not good to you or not. You still do whatever because it's gonna come back to you. So if you do good, good will come to you. You see, I got a care package. It works out. It do. Yeah, it works out. You can't punish other people for what somebody else did to you. That's not right. Everybody, you just keep with what that person did. That person did you dirty. And leave it at that. I'm not gonna be mean to people, but I'm gonna keep my distance. I gotta keep my distance. I'll be like, yo, I gotta keep my distance. Yeah, you gotta leave it with God. You just gotta be like, yo. Be like, okay. And then you don't gotta hang out with them either. They be doing some wild stuff. It's time for me to go. Where you going? I'm leaving. Yeah, I'm just leaving. Nah, I'm leaving. You don't want to stay? Nah. I just leave. Agree. Do people good and they will feel good around you. Just do people good. Listen, and I'm not here to. I'm not trying to argue and make a big deal. It's not necessary. I told you. I'm gonna tell this story again. I told some of y'all this story. This lady gave me a ticket to go to an event. She gave me a ticket, but the ticket didn't have a table number. It's a bullshit ticket. She said, sit wherever there's an empty seat. I didn't have no seat. I didn't have an official invitation. I find a table. That table had like 4 empty seats. I sit down and the lady telling me her friend coming. There's 4 seats. Why is she bothering me? And I was eating my salad. It's like I'm worrying about her. She didn't want me at the table. She was harping on me. You volunteer, right? I said, yes, I'm a volunteer. My friend is coming. And I was like, okay. Because I'm like this. Why is she going crazy? Her friend came. There she goes. She said, I told you she was coming. You got to get up and replace her salad. Like I'm her servant. I got up. I went to the hotel staff. I said we need another salad over at that table. He asked me which table. I told him, and he said, no problem, ma'am. And I went on about my business. And I never went to that place again. I never went there. She made me get up when I had this fake ass ticket. And I said, okay. She gave me that ticket, no table number. So I don't take it. If I don't got a table number, I don't got no real invitation, I'm not going. Yes! Like I see that. I can't get over it. I was so insulted. It took everything in me to stay quiet because I was very offended. There's a whole bunch of seats. She want to harass me. Why am I the one she picked on? I just didn't understand that. I really was. So I got up and I left. I just stayed quiet. And I said, I'm never going to go to that place again. I said, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. I didn't get a real invitation. I didn't get a real invitation. I still go to places I'm not invited, but I'm talking about the lady gave me a ticket. I learned that the ticket didn't have a table number. When I got the ticket, I thought I had a ticket. I found out there's no table number on it. It's not a real ticket. Joe, just sit wherever there's a seat. Everybody else, the lady, this girl, she was there. She kept crying, telling me, oh, she said, I had such a wonderful time. Oh, I'm so happy I went. She was crying, talking about it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. And I was like, I didn't go. She showed me she got a book and stuff. I was just listening to her. Because she just has to tell me. I said I didn't go. I'm not gonna say I don't care. That's why some people get people that are just exaggerated. Oh, this is told me. Just like they said, it's like, you got people, they work and they can't get off their shift. But you got all these people that say not working. You would think that the people would be complaining they can't get overtime because you got so many people that are at the job. But that's not the case. The employer don't want to hire the people. So you still got to do extra shift because they won't do right. They just won't do it. So then you got to do extra shifts. You got to do extra work because of all the nonsense. But I still am entertained by it. I'm entertained that the person gets to do that. They get to get over because they sleeping with this guy or whatever. They get to touch his balls. They touched his balls and he giving her favors just because she touches his balls. And I'm so sure that if you touch his balls, because you already got a reputation. So if you touch his balls, he's not going to give you anything. You already came in there with a reputation. So if you touch his balls, you're not going to get nothing. You just got to touch his balls. That's the fact. You're just not going to. Everybody don't get the same thing. I'm going to leave you with this. People like to say, let me leave you with a thought, the last thought. When I was in middle school, I was already 5'9". And at the time, my feet was a size 10. I had a size 10 shoe. And I was 5'9" in middle school. So how is life fair? When you around all these little petite little girls, and you looking at them, little women, and you can't be that. You can't be little like they are. There's nothing you can do. And you're gonna make life unfair just because your shoe size is a size 10 and they are little tiny and they gonna talk about you. Oh my God, your feet are so big. Oh, you're so tall. Oh, you gotta deal with that. And then, my feet didn't stop growing. Like I was 10 in middle school, but they eventually got to be a size 12. And fortunately, I had parents that they took me to places where I could still look cute with my shoes with my size 12. But there's still places they don't go to that size. But that doesn't mean I'm not a size 12 in women's. I'm a size 12. But people like to talk like you can generalize everybody when you yourself know that is not general. Just like I'm not a petite woman, I'm a tall woman. So a lot of the pants, even if it's my size, they be high water because I need tall leg. It's not average. Average, the pants stop at my ankles. And sometimes, I don't want to be looking around for those clothes, so I'll be wearing them. And then they be like, "Oh, you got high waters on? You got high waters on?" And I be sitting there like, "Yeah, I can wear shorts if I want to." I came around with some green shorts with gold buttons because sometimes I just wild out. I just be froggy because I feel like I'm so tired of people talking all the time. That's why this guy named Culture Invasion podcast, sometimes he get on my nerves when I'm listening to his commentary because he's like, do what you want to do. Just be yourself. He's always talking that. Hey, do whatever you want to do. Like as if the public doesn't harass you. Like as if you don't get comments from the public. He talks so funny to me. But anyway, you just deal with it. I remember I was right here in Harlem, right? And I'm gonna let y'all go. I was right here in Harlem. And I went to go to the state office building just to sit outside with the rest of the homeless people. And my legs was ashy because I didn't have no lotion. You gotta have lotion, you gotta have all this. But anyway, I went there with my ashy legs. And I was sitting there at the state office building, sitting over there. And this guy, he comes up to me. I don't know this guy. He's a stranger. And he said, "Girl, your legs are so ashy." He said, "You need some lotion." I said, "You want to put some lotion on them for me?" He said, "I'll put some lotion on them for you." And I said, "Put it on there. You got such a problem with my legs being ashy. Do you know he put some lotion on my legs?" I let him too. I let him put it. I don't know this guy. Yes, I did. Oh, yes. And I know, let me tell you something. Yes. Let him put it right there. He complaining about him being ashy. Yep. Right there in Harlem. Harlem World. Yep. They like to buy. Sometimes I throw a wig right on. I just throw the wig on and I go outside. And they are just as fine with me. You hear me? I throw a wig on. So you ain't comb your wig? What I gotta comb my wig for? They just let me be. I ain't lying to you. That's a true story. I don't know. You want to put some lotion on my legs. I said, put the lotion on it. He got the lotion. I ain't got the lotion. Put some lotion on my legs. Outrageous. People put some lotion on my legs. It's like I had went to I'm gonna leave y'all. But I had went to I went to Union Square. And I said, I'm giving out free hugs. Free hugs. And people, they came over for hugs. People are crazy. They lonely. I don't know. I can't tell you. I just know people came over to hug me. And then you might have somebody else they trying to give free hugs and nobody want to hug them. So you never know. I'm just leaving y'all with that. We are having different experiences in life. We really are. Hey, Clarence, we really are. I'm so serious. All of us are not having the same experience. We ain't on the same ride. You got this person, he giving the same love. I got love for you. I got hugs for you. And nobody want to hug him. And they like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I put my arm out to give hugs. And they right there. They ready. I got a line. You just never know. But you got to try it just to see. And that's all I want to leave you with. We all having different experiences. And it is what it is. You got a size 8. I got a size 12. You know, you 5'4". I'm 5'9". It does make a difference. But it is what it is. And we all can be at peace. You know what I'm saying? We could be at peace. So let's choose peace. That's all I'm saying. Taller women are harder to lift up. But we go wild once it's done. You know, he's so stupid. I can't. But that is funny. Because you know how they be talking, you be listening to them talk, they be talking the dating guys, you know, the men and women be talking, and they always like, why do little women always like tall men? But what about the tall women? What about if we want men taller than us? Right? So we want to be how about if we want a man the same distance as the petite women do? You see how the men be so much taller than petite? What about me? I'm 5'9" or whatever, and I want a man that tall too. Imagine the kids. We having giants. It's ridiculous. But I like tall men too. Like what? I'm not supposed to be able to like tall men? So only petite women are supposed to get to like tall men? Get out of here with that. Get out of here. It's just hilarious. I just love it. Just like, wait, and then I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go. Wait, with this one, right? This was my last thought. So this guy, he was talking about women and how they get the Louis bag and everything. And he said, yeah, put that down to feed your kids with. He said, take them chains, take your designer bags and feed your kids. I think that's a good way to leave it. I loved it. I was dying laughing because they be flaunting all their fancy designer shit, right? And then they want to at the same time scream about not getting public assistance. Get the fuck out of here. He said, take the designer bags, all that shit you done collected, and feed your kids. Love it.